Underrated maybe.
Say it again.
Underrated maybe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back with another episode of Black and Unscripted, man. I know it's been a while, but listen, we gonna get to that. Don't be questioning our stance in this thing. We gonna get to that. I'm excited about this one. It been a long time coming, like I said, as far as doing Black and Unscripted. And Jazz was able to come up with some great ideas. So I'm pretty sure we'll get back to our original thing, but this time we wanted to do a little twist. We've been especially with just how our lives have been, we've been spending a large part of our time together, like watching movies and really being interested in movies and different styles of things. So, shit, we said, why not do reviews? So that's what this episode is going to be. It's going to be a review. And I'll ping it to Jazz and she'll let you know about what movie and what we got in store for y'all. But yeah, it's been a little while, but I'm ready. I'm excited to be back. I'm happy to have Jazz. Hold on, wait, let me see. Hold on, Jazz. Let me see. Huh. Oh yeah, I had to double back. You looking good on the other side, Jazz. I ain't gonna lie. I had to
Make
double
me
back to make
blush.
sure my eyes wasn't deceiving me. Yes,
Thank
beautiful.
you.
So nonetheless, I'll let you take it, Jazz. You take over, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. So today we will be reviewing the movie Casino.
All
My
right.
first time watching a movie. I'm pretty sure you've seen it more than once, or
Yeah, I've seen it. Now, in terms of, because it's a pretty lengthy movie, so I want to say maybe that was probably about my third time, like actually watching it, like watching it from it in its entirety. I've
right.
turned it on a bunch of times and, excuse me, gotten lost. But
Mm.
yeah, but I've seen it a nice amount of times though.
Okay, so this is Martin Scorsese. I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. Casino is, like you said, 3-hour movie. I think we did good being engaged and
Yeah,
I didn't even realize it was so good. I didn't even realize it was 3 hours.
that's it. I
Um,
don't know. That's that Scorsese effect because a lot of the Jones I like by him. Didn't he do, if I'm not mistaken, did he do he did Wolf of Wall Street also?
Wolf of Wall Street. Yep,
Yeah,
one of
see, I
my
watched
favorites.
that. Like, it ain't no big deal.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
So I'll introduce the plot.
Okay. Well,
Um,
let's before you do that, I'm sorry. You want to introduce the characters of the movie,
I'll
or is it?
introduce them within the plot.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Do your thing. I'm sorry. Let you do your thing.
It's okay. So, in early 1970s Las Vegas, low-level mobster Sam A. Rothstein, played by
Robert De Niro.
yes, gets tapped by his bosses to head the Tangiers Casino. At first, he's a great success in the job, but over the years, problems with his loose cannon enforcer Nicky Santoro, played by Joe Pesci,
Yep.
his ex-hustler wife Ginger, played by Sharon Stone, and her con artist ex Lester Diamond, played by James Woods, and a handful of corrupt politicians put Sam in an ever increasing danger. Martin Scorsese directs this adaptation of Nick Pileggi's book. So, and now we'll rate the movie 1 through 5. Let's give them movie stubs.
Okay.
Movie stubs. So,
So when
what
we
would you
rate
rate
on
it?
here, our thing would be stubs, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm with you.
So, what would you give this movie 1 through 5?
I'm sorry. I gotta give it 5. I gotta give it 5, and just because when you think about I guess mob movies, gangster movies, it's
Mhm.
like it's at the top of the line. It's up there. For me, some other people may disagree, but just as far as how I came into it and how I kind of like came about some of the mob movies, gangster flicks,
Right.
it's top of the line to me. I don't know if I can name too many that's above it, but yeah, it's up there for me. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
I give it 4.8.
Okay.
There's a couple different factors that'll go into the scale. So we have story, characters, plot, production value, and outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the story goes, like, what do you think? How do you think he did navigating the story? And it's a true story, right?
Yeah, it's based loosely based. I don't know if you noticed, but the other day I was watching the actual story about the actual people, and the
Mhm.
stories are a little different. And I'm pretty. There's one part in particular that I'm still kind of like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, right? But it's loosely based though. Yeah, it's based off of true events. But so you asked about the how I feel about the story plot, how they did with the story plot.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. It again, it gives you an in depth look at the mob dealings. I won't say like so much I mean, you could say the lifestyle, right? But when I
Mhm.
think of lifestyle, mob lifestyle, that's more like I think of just in terms of movies, mob movies. I think like Goodfellas, even a Bronx Tale. When you talk about the mob lifestyle, I could see it more of that with
Right.
those movies. But as far as the dealings, because Vegas is one that is known globally for what it is. So for the mob to be able to have enough grip on that and be able to have dealings in there is just like wow, it gave me a different perspective of how excuse me, how powerful they are and then how far they reach it. So I think he did a good job at laying that out for sure.
And Nikki, didn't he put Vegas on the map, like as far as the mob goes? Like when he came
So
in?
if I'm not mistaken, I want to tell you that it was so if you remember, excuse me, somebody within the mob had brought Sam in first, and
Mhm.
they brought Nikki in as like insurance, like security for Sam, because Sam, the way Sam was able to run the show, he was making a lot of money for the mob, so they placed Nikki because they knew Nikki was a loose cannon that to protect Sam. That was his job basically in it. So I'm pretty sure it was some other guys there, maybe even before Sam. They were probably there already and saw the opportunity before any of those guys. It was just they placed those guys in position to be able to run they thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a good story to tell. Even if it
Absolutely.
was loosely based, it definitely kept me interested. And I would even like I would even, they probably started some type like instilling the mob in Vegas. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wonder what influence that has today.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I'll say this. This is this was pretty influential. The fact that the setting in which the movie took. So I mean, like if you think about that in reality, it
Hmm.
was such an impact that the mob had, and is whether or not they have a influence today, I don't know. But I'm just saying, based off of the movie, they basically got rid of they had to what do you call it rebrand themselves. They was getting rid
Hmm.
of like so a lot of those old casinos that they was running in and out of, they knocked them down and just built from the ground up because so they did like a whole makeup on the town. So that's pretty influential. If your impact is like what we need to re rebrand ourselves. We need a new face. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that was I think it's still pretty heavy in the sense that they had that kind of effect on it.
Right. So then let's get into the characters.
Okay.
I would start with basically our three main characters. I think the story did a good job of staying focused on the characters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes with mob movies, you get a little lost
Yep.
because they'll mention this person and that person, like a little bit of everyone. But I think they did a good job of like staying focused.
Hmm.
Um, as far as the main character, Sam,
Hmm.
my only, and this is probably why I gave it a 4.8. He
Hmm.
was, I struggle to find like what were his flaws.
Mm.
Like I don't think, um, I'm still thinking about, like what, what did he do wrong?
Outside of get involved with Ginger, that shit was nuts. Like we gonna get that. I don't want to jump the gun, but we gonna get to her. We gonna get to her
Right,
for real.
right, right, right.
But
Um,
outside of that, when you posed that question initially, and you right, like that's how they basically made him like damn near perfect, even in getting blown up in the car and not dying
right.
in his car getting blown up. He just so happened to have a car that
The
had a
metal
metal
plate.
plate. Yeah,
Hmm. Right. So that
yeah,
would be my only. And you know what happens sometimes when there's like a biopic or it's based on real life. If you think about the story, he's like the only one that's, spoiler alert, sorry, but he's the
yeah.
only one that's still alive. Like
Okay, yeah,
come the end of the movie, so he gets to
yeah,
tell the story. So I
yeah.
guess that plays into him just looking like a good guy
Mm.
the whole time.
They say in sidebar, but they say that about in Goodfellas, Henry Hill.
Mm.
They kind of like drew him out to be like a clean cut mobster, clean guy. He just so happened to, but they was like, no, he wasn't like that, So I could see that. To your
Right,
point, I could definitely see, being like one of the only people involved in the making of it. That you're gonna clean yourself up a little bit, yeah,
right. Even so, when it comes to Nikki, I started like in the beginning of the movie. I like Nikki.
yeah.
Like I thought, like
You like Ginger too in the beginning too. Before you like, I said,
I said, oh,
watch,
she's cool. She's cool.
yeah, I said, watch this. You
Right,
had no idea.
right, right. So Nikki, he just he went a little while. He got power hungry. I don't know if he deserved the fate. I don't know if he deserved what his ultimate fate.
So to that point again, we spoke about this a little bit, right? So you remember when you first posed that to me, I linked towards the fact that he, his relationship with, which we'll get into, obviously his relationship with Ginger, like that
Hmm.
could have sealed his fate, right? But then we remember, oh well, Rothstein, he was a Jew. But again, mind you, I'm watching the actual documentary on the real people, and I
Hmm.
believe that's the part that I'm confused about. Is I know it's the Italian mob, but well, yeah, no, you have to be Italian in order to be a made
A
guy.
made man.
So I don't, but they still, even in the documentaries, they referred to Sam as a made guy. So I don't know. I gotta, they called him a Jew. So I don't know. I mean, it's fitting, like just by his description, that he might be, Jewish
Hmm.
descent, but that might have just been a nickname for him. He might have really been Italian,
Right.
and but then again, it might get a little twisted where it's like your parents, if your dad is of, it might, yeah, it get a little tricky with that and how they do things. But nonetheless, I believe that Sam definitely held power
Hmm.
within the mob. If it wasn't for nothing else, but the fact that he was responsible for bringing in all that money.
Right.
Another sidebar, if you think about it, Bumpy Johnson, the way we watched the Joan, Bumpy Johnson was a part of the mob.
Hmm.
Not just any old body could
Oh,
go and
right.
sit. You
Right.
follow me? So not just
Yeah.
anybody could just go and sit down and have those kinds of conversations and pull those kinds of strings with the bosses. You follow me?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like it's just as close as you can get to being a made man.
yeah, for sure. That's what I was. And again, he was bringing in tons of money. So that in that world, I'm pretty sure that trumps everything. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Right.
A lot. It trumps not everything, but a lot. You know.
Right.
Um. But Nikki,
Ginger.
hold on. Let me just say this about Nikki. I want to say about Nikki. We'll get to Ginger. I definitely we gonna check that. Nikki was definitely. It took me some while. Again, when I talk about the amount of times I watched it, it took me a few times to like really see him, and I think I got a better like this time when we watched. I got a like the most clear understanding of him that I've ever had. Right,
Right.
and yeah, like you say, power hungry. He was more importantly, power drunk. He was money. He was greedy,
Hmm.
and he was selfish. He it seems to me that his decision making. Granted, we could say Sam, but I think it was his decision making that ultimately led to the demise of the entire operation.
Right.
That's how I saw it. Follow me?
Hmm. If it would have worked out had they worked together.
Absolutely. It was working. He
Right.
just, I think you got to realize this too. Nikki made a decision. At one point in time, he operated in a sense that was against the code of the family. And he was doing it blatant. He was blatantly doing it. Like he was probably, kind of like Scarface a little bit, like willing to go to war with his bosses. It don't matter. That Napoleon complex. You follow me? So he was definitely wilding. The movie showed it, but I like just with again watching the documentary and having more detail about the kind of person that the actual guy was. He was definitely drawn for sure.
You ready for Ginger?
Yep. I'll let you start. I don't want to. I'll let you go.
So, like you said in the beginning, she kind of had me. She had a skill that is hard to find, so that's impressive. She's good looking, flashy. Like she was. I saw why Sam was interested. Come later in the movie, get her out of here. She, she
Absolutely.
she was, I would say, just as responsible as Nikki for the downfall,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
if
But
not more.
and the more and more we talk about it, just not to go off track, but the more and more we talk about it and break it down, I feel like everybody kind of played a part. Whether
Right,
even Sam, because Sam got to be a little bit smarter than that. In his position, he gotta be a little bit more in tune with what's going on and how things can potentially work out for him.
right.
So even if just from that small of a scale, Sam is somewhat responsible too for getting involved with such matters. You follow me? But and obviously the Nikki and the Ginger part too. Yeah, definitely they was wilding.
Yeah, I will.
Let me ask you this: what was it for you that had you like, oh yeah, that had you done with Ginger? What was it?
So I think the way that he handled, so on their wedding day, when she made that phone call
Mm-hmm.
to James Woods, to
Right.
her, her ex pimp,
Yeah. Yep.
right?
Yep.
The way he handled that should have had her like loyal. You know what I mean? Like just with the way that he carried it out. But for her to still go behind his back after that,
Yeah. And
yeah.
you know what? Even in that situation, it was I guess in learning how and watching it multiple times and then in knowing how things ultimately end up.
Hmm.
I didn't look at the wedding day like it was just like a genuine expression of emotion that she may have been going through. I automatically looked at it like she was showing you right there, bro, that she can't be trusted, like that type stuff. But to
Yeah,
your point, it may have been, and especially with you coming in seeing it for the first time, this is a genuine emotion that, given her circumstances and her situation, that she may be feeling at the moment. So yeah,
right,
that's a different perspective that I didn't have before.
right. And that makes sense. Like really it was like a premonition to how like life was going to go. Um I don't even think she cared about money. She
That's
had
what
the
was
money.
so crazy. Like it definitely was like a mental thing, like a mental health thing there,
Mhm. Mhm.
because she
She
had
had the
everything.
money.
She had everything.
Mhm.
I mean, other than whatever it was that she was in search of,
Right.
But in terms of like lifestyle, she was straight. She was set.
Right. But it wasn't good enough. It was, it was never enough for her.
What
And
what
just
had
caused
me done with? I'm
problem
sorry. What?
problem. No,
No,
she
you
just
go.
caused problem after problem.
Yeah. What had me done with her was when she began to like clearly do drugs, and she keep this like the third time that she went back to the pimp, and they got the
Mhm.
kid, and they, you remember Sam coming to the house and the baby, the daughter is that like that shit,
Yep.
when it was like for real, and like you said, maybe she didn't even care about money. She was, because she could have just left.
Mhm.
She instead of just leaving, she tried to burn the whole shit to the ground. She ain't just
Right.
dip. She
Right.
tried to hurt. She tried to take all. She tried to take his money. She hurting the child, putting the child in the middle of it, just doing way too much. Got my man looking crazy, like you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Even I mean, she even had like the pimp, like she even had him, and then went back to see him.
Mm-hmm.
So just never satisfied. And in the end, it definitely caught up to her.
Yep.
And she, she ended up with nothing.
At least she had 2,500. 2,500 in quarters in coins. They said or some nut shit. Like what? That shit would have pissed me off. Like I ain't
Right.
gonna lie.
And he wasn't even that upset. Like, and
Because go ahead. I'll let you.
I guess it was like comparing it to like what he was going through. Like that money was just like, okay, he didn't really react to it.
I was thinking about the money. I was thinking about the money too. I don't think that money, even though it was a lot of money, I don't think that money. I just think that he didn't want her to have it on the strip for him and be doing whatever the hell she was doing.
Right.
But I don't think that money was going hurting. You follow me? But he had it.
Right.
Remember, he had it set up and had it placed there for a reason, for with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And she, I don't think he just didn't want her to have it. But I don't think it put like it hurt him or nothing by losing it.
That's true. That's true. Any other characters you want to mention?
Nah, I mean, they the main ones. The only other person that might have a impactful part who we don't mention is the boss, because he's pretty much orchestrating
right
everything that's happening. Even in he ultimate in that he plays a part in Nikki's demise, and I'm pretty sure he played a part in an attempt on Sam's life also. You follow me? Because remember they was under heat. The bosses was hot. They was going to jail. That's why he started. That's why they started to kill people, because it's like, yeah, no, y'all messed up. You know what I mean? Right. So, but the boss, I don't remember his name, but the boss, he probably the only other like important character to me, outside of the ones that we've named. Everybody else just kind of like they accommodate the story.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, plot. I was trying to think of the difference between story and plot. I think story we focused on like the original story. Plot will be the sequence in which it was told. So I think the plot ultimately was super easy to follow. Beginning to the end. It didn't lose me one time, and shout out to Martin Scorsese for that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and like you said, even with with the plot, it was definitely easy to stay engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was easy to stay. Good. It's on you.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to get to production value. So the quality of the movie. What year did it come out?
I thought about that earlier. Like I was going to ask you that, but I don't know. Let's call it. Let me Google it. What year do you think? Just guess a year, and I'll guess one.
95.
I was thinking 90. I was going to say 95, so I'll stay at 95 with you. And hold on, I'll tell you right now what year it came. Oh, yep, 95.
Oh, look at us.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking 95. Yeah, but yep, 95.
But even like the one of my favorite parts was when they were in the casino and Sam was on his job and he saw the guy sending a signal. So is this the same guy? Correct me if I'm wrong, that had his head in the vice grip.
No. That's somebody else. Okay. I forget why they ended up getting on his ass. But no, he was somebody different.
Right.
What they did with him was they smashed his hand with the hammer.
Right.
The guy with the signal. Yeah. Right.
So the graphics were on point. I was like kind of like squeamish, like watching certain parts. The hammer, the vice grips, wardrobe.
Yeah, it was on point. My man, even though he's a pimp, he had that Gucci. He had that custom, that Dapper Dan Gucci. Like I said, yo,
straight from Harlem.
Yeah, and Sam too. You're definitely right. Even he made me appreciate like Like not only his suits, he definitely was on point with suits, but even his shade game, his sunglass game was top notch in that joint.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, his character, like the whole time, he was
Yeah. Yeah, he
definitely
was on
on
point.
point.
And he was I don't want to word it wrong, but like he's probably he's gotten in trouble for like gambling violations and stuff like that. So that even goes to say how powerful the mob was to be able to surpass that he probably really even shouldn't be in that position. You follow me? And
Right.
remember, they were so smart that and they had it in such a chokehold that he was running the show, but he wasn't running it from underneath of the title of whatever that position is. He was
Right.
running
They
the
was moving
casino
them
from like
around.
like from the kitchen manager. You know what I'm saying, on payroll, but he running the whole joint. Like they was on point with that.
Then he started a podcast.
That's what they got mad at. They got mad at him when he did the podcast. He said, "Yo," but he was pissed. Why? Why? Oh yeah, because they took his license away from me, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
And he was trying to get his light, and everybody turned on him because that's when it started to get hot. Like they started
right.
to see like the mob activity, and it got a
Right.
little hot. And he was
I
out there
didn't like
talking
that.
out against all the gaming commission and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. So our final category is the outcome. Like, how did you feel about the ending?
I think that if we're talking realistically, when you live in that lifestyle, there's only one or two ways out of that anyway. And again, just from my knowledge of watching like mob movies, documentaries, like it's not too, the ones that do outlast that last, they lucky. But it's not too many situations that I've seen where the mobsters or even with Gotti, we watch Gotti and all that stuff like that. It's not too many where they last. They don't last.
Right.
So, but as far as the ending, it was it made perfect sense to me. Even with Ginger's demise, like she was just too loose,
Yep.
to have gotten away from that. She had spiraled out of control. And
Right.
if anybody could have helped her, it would have been Sam.
Yeah.
I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna be Sam. Um,
Right.
when she didn't want Sam's help, she just ain't want no help at all. And think about that too. She didn't go upward. She went back. She went like downward. Like she went the opposite direction in which Sam was trying to take her. You
Right.
follow me?
Right.
And as far as Sam, I think Sam's story is just it's one of those rare things. Now, in his defense, he wasn't a mobster, right? He wasn't killing people. He wasn't orchestrating hits on people. He wasn't
Right.
extorting people. He was just a piece of a puzzle, and he carried out the mission, and he carried it out well. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So even for how things ultimately ended up for the bosses, the ones who actually called the shots, and for Sam to kind of like see his way through that,
Mm-hmm.
that was a one of a kind situation. But as far as how things ended like that, it made perfect sense to me, and I think it was on point. Yeah, I mean, it was based off a true story. So even with that, like, it's not even like a situation where it's like, damn, that's crazy, that's messed up. Like, no, you do certain shit, like it's going, like certain things are going to probably come back in response to that. So
Right.
yeah.
I agree. I like the ending. I mean, it was my first time seeing it. So anything that happened, I don't want to say it was not not expected, but
Mm-hmm.
I understood why it went that way. Like it wasn't anything that kind of like went left. Within the story it was, and I think that's what made it interesting. But um, I think the ending was good, and like you said, it's a true story. So
Mm-hmm.
it turned out how it was supposed to. Um, so yeah, those are our five categories. One thing I did want to ask you about the Jay-Z bar. Too much Sam
Oh,
Rothstein.
too much flossing, too much Sam Rothstein. I still, I just think that is again. Remember, we picked out the fact that Sam was just super fresh.
Mm-hmm.
He just lived and he lived a high roller lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is just probably in reference to that. You follow me? Like I picked that out. I don't think it was too much more there. I feel
Right.
like without the context to the bar, we picked that. You could pick that out about Sam is that he's a flashy guy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's a high roller. You know what I mean? That's just his lifestyle. And it ultimately, you know, being in that lifestyle, it ultimately led to a certain kind of demise for him. Whether it was his fault, somebody else's fault, just being in
Mm-hmm.
that lifestyle and living that kind of way, it you know, it just comes with certain things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that would be like the reference, like just kind of like comparing it to like the bar and how Jay was trying to aim it.
Right.
Like if you flip that and place it on Jay's situation, it definitely makes sense.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's
Casino.
it.
That's it.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So what are we looking forward to? Tell the people what we got coming next. Even if you don't want to get in depth about exactly what next, but what can they be looking forward to seeing from us moving forward?
I look forward to delivering more reviews. Any movie suggestions are highly welcomed. Um, we have. You want me to name a couple.
Why not?
Malcolm X.
Yeah,
That was a
good
good one.
John.
Um, let's we could get into Gotti. I think
Yeah,
that's a good niche for us, like gangster movies,
yeah,
biopics.
yeah.
Um, Catch Me If You Can, that was a good one.
I was
Um,
definitely thinking that one. That was definitely I was
mhm,
falling asleep a little bit, but that was just tired. But it's a good one. It wasn't the movie.
yeah,
It was my life that had me falling asleep. Yeah,
it's a long movie.
yeah.
Um,
Do we do? Are we still? Do we do any? Are we gonna? Can they look forward to hearing or seeing any music reviews from us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got. I think we got something on deck concerning that.
Hmm.
Yeah, but this went well. I like the way this went, and I'll just say this: like this is the young. When you see this is Black and Unscripted. So what you'll see here is you'll see a more broadened or versatile version of who the Young Black and Gifted network or the Young Black and Gifted podcast is. So I just wanted to state that. Yeah, we're Black and Unscripted, but we want to show like our reach. You know, everything that we push. You know, we do it for us. But you know, we see things, and you know, we're not one track minded. You know, we could see other things. So I just wanted to state that disclaimer. You know what I mean? But this
And
is the Young Black and Gifted Network.
yes, and you named it Black and Unscripted before we even thought of movie review.
Exactly. So it fits. It fits. It
Right.
fits. You know what I mean? So all right, well that's all. I mean, that was dope. I like that. I think we could definitely, and we're gonna get back to. I want to say we're gonna get back to like some of the. I like this. It's been a while since I've like. This is kind of like even though we were doing reviews, it kind of like it's very similar to like Pie. And it's been a while. I just did a few, I did some interviews over the last couple of months, but this is a lot more relaxing and it's very reminiscent to podcasting. So I definitely want to make sure that we do a few more of these every now and again.
Right. This was fun.
All right, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Black and Unscripted. That was Casino, and we'll see y'all the next time.